Next, we're going back into the DCEU.
Oh, goodness.
No, but we had fun with this one.
Okay.
We watched Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn.
Which is a terrible title, people.
From 2020. One, the title is too long, but also you're burying the lead. The lead is Harley Quinn. You put it as the Emancipation of Harley Quinn, featuring Birds of Prey.
The Harley Quinn movie.
Because when they released it, they actually had to change it to say from Birds of Prey to Harley Quinn. They had to change that because people didn't know about it.
Well, the Birds of Prey are really the very last minute we find out who the Birds of Prey are. Anyway, you want to talk about it first?
This came out in 2020.
Bad timing.
Yeah, I think it came out right in February.
Well, at least it got in there.
It released in wide release February 7, 2020. So
we didn't see it.
Did
you see it in theaters?
Yes, I did.
It wasn't the last movie that we saw.
This was a month this came out a month and a half before the pandemic really hit here in North America.
Right.
Maybe a month, depending on where you are.
I think the last movie we saw together as a family was the Disney one with the two brothers and their dad.
That's not what we're talking about here. Onward, I think it was.
Like that,
okay.
Yeah.
This movie currently has a 79% certified fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes and a 78% audience score. So both are kind of lining up here. Do you want to go first? Or should I?
You go first.
Okay.
Don't go into too much detail.
I had well, it's a spoiler because this movie's 3 years old.
You don't need to pick apart everything.
No, I didn't write down notes about it, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. Apparently, I've been too thorough in my reviews because I make notes and when I've seen a movie before. So I watched this movie. I had a fun time with this. It's not perfect. It's got a lot of problems in it. All the Birds of Prey stuff, some of it was funny. Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Huntress, she was pretty funny.
She was really the only humorous.
Rosie Perez. Okay, Rosie Perez is back. Okay, and she was playing Renee Montoya. She wasn't given that much to do. I mean, there was a bit of an investigation stuff. There was some funny stuff with her. Her performance didn't stand out, but good to see that she's back. Ewan McGregor as Black Mask, Roman Sionis. He's chewing all the scenery. He's great in this movie. He's so over the top, wacky comic book supervillain. And I love it. What
was his superpower?
Doesn't have any.
Yeah, why is he putting that mask on? That's part I didn't understand that.
It's just the look.
Oh.
It's like war paint. You put it on to intimidate your enemies.
He's already wearing a velvet
And also,
pantsuit.
if you wear a mask, people can't say it was you. Okay? Now, the lady who Journey Smollett, who played this new version of Black Canary, didn't really like that performance. Didn't matter to me at all.
So much better than that other girl.
Yeah. We'll get to your.
I thought she was so much better.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that, but we'll get to your review in a bit. Anyway, her performance could take it or leave it. Nothing stood out to me, and she wasn't given that much to work with. The little kid who plays Cassandra Cain, she was good. I enjoyed this. So we see, and Margot Robbie, she's in this movie. Of course, it's her movie. It looks to me she was doing a lot of her own stunt work, like all the physicality in those fight scenes. And the fight scenes are pretty good. I wouldn't say they're great, but they're pretty damn good. They needed to be more like longer shots and less cuts, because cuts and shaky cam are not good when it comes to action. But there was some decent action. There was lots of funny jokes in it. And there was more, I got vibes of Suicide Squad from it, because when her grievances came up for certain people, every time it's like this person, at one point it's Mother Frijoли looking person, and it's like grievance, it's the bounty that's on her. And then other grievances when the guy's face that they tattooed, when she broke the guy's leg. There's so many people she has grievances that have grievances with her, because she's because she's a terrible person. She's a villain, right? I like that. We did get flashes of her backstory, which I enjoyed. And also, we didn't see Jared Leto as the Joker, so I enjoyed his absence there, because I don't like that guy or his performances at all. I don't want to spoil the jokes, but there's some really funny sequences.
There were some jokes in it, yeah.
The ending, okay, the villain gets his comeuppance. I actually enjoyed that. It was kind of quick, but I did enjoy it, and we got to see some great locations. We see the weird carnival fairground on Gotham Docks there. That's abandoned, and it looks really creepy, man. Everything's abandoned in Gotham City. Then we see the pier. That's actually both those things are from the comics there.
Okay.
So the comics, what's it? Founders Pier, and it's all derelict and closed off and abandoned. Man, don't they put any money into their city? Like, jeez, place is so.
Bankrupt.
Why would you want to live in Gotham City? We do get a great food porn scene. Okay, near the beginning.
I guess it kind of made my stomach turn though. I did not like the look of the food.
She certainly liked the look of it.
Sick to my stomach.
And it became a reoccurring gag later on. So that was quite interesting. I would say they should have leaned even more into the humor. And the story was broke up. It was a non-linear storytelling. It kept jumping all over the place. I did enjoy that, but sometimes, one time, when she's busting into the police station, which is a really fun scene. And I'm like, yeah, shoot those cops. She's shooting them with beanbags and glitter bombs and like color gas grenades and paint and that. So she's not killing them, and it just hurts. And I'm like, yeah, this is fun. And she's kicking them in the balls and that. And then suddenly it cuts to Black Canary singing in the club. I'm like, this just stops the movie dead. I'm like, no, keep kicking those guys in the balls. Okay, it was hilarious.
Right.
But the way they did the storyline, including the origin for Huntress, was really good. I enjoyed
that part, yeah.
All of that was fun, and they included Mr. Zsasz in that. Mr. Zsasz is another Batman villain. Pretty, like a D-list level villain. Batman's got a big rogue gallery. So by putting him in this, I'm like, that's great. I love it. It's less than 2 hours. Only an hour and 45 minutes. I mean, my complaints about this movie would be, Rosie Perez, well, one, bearing the lead. We don't care about Birds of Prey. Ewan McGregor was great as a villain, but I would have liked to see, like, a bigger villain, you know?
Don't really get all the
there's some real violence in this.
Yeah.
And some terrifying stuff. So this is something that's for teens. It's rated R in the U.S.
It is rated. It's a R rated, and I'll talk about it.
I don't know if it was rated R.
Here
I got it on my 4K disc. It's rated 14A here because in Canada we can get away with more violence and stuff. So what that means here in Canada, if you're 14 or older, you can go without having an adult go with you. But if you're 13 and younger, an adult has to go in. So you can take your kid to see this, but maybe an 8-year-old might not want to see people get their faces cut off. You know? Maybe that might not be appropriate for them. End of the day, I give this best movie ever. This is one of the good DCEU ones. So now I'm going to let Christine complain about it all day. Do you agree with these scores from Rotten Tomatoes?
I guess so. Basically,
Did you enjoy
this movie missed the mark ×2. First of all, it was a giant missed opportunity by DC, who don't seem to know what they're doing. This character is a character that young girls really like. Being the mother of a young girl, the girls really like this character. However, they went way too violent and way too dark with this movie. It didn't match, like, the tone, like you're saying, like throwing the glitter grenades at the cops.
Yeah, all the fun in that.
That didn't match up with this dude all of a sudden
suddenly horrific violence.
Faces. That was just too much. The violence didn't. There was all this really bad buzz, and then there was all these happy moments.
Mm-hmm.
So they totally missed the mark with that.
Mm-hmm.
They should have got rid of that violence, which wasn't necessary at all in the movie. That wasn't necessary. Any of that. And gone with the glitter bombs and stuff like that, and had girls be able to watch this. Number 2, as an adult woman watching this, it also missed the mark. Because bringing in all this horrible imagery of the sexism and women as objects and everything, they put that in this movie, but they never ever said that was a wrong thing to do, or the women never get to stand up for themselves. They get chased to a place where they have to defend against all these men. They're all men. But the villain never really gets his comeuppance.
Doesn't he?
No. They never say, all this stuff you're doing is wrong. They let him put a woman up on a table and take her clothes off and dance, and
that scene was not good.
No one stands up to him. The only thing Black Canary does, she calls the cops and tells one cop about it all, but no one ever stands up to the violence. The violence that men have towards women in this movie is disgusting. And in my mind, it promotes that violence. Because no one ever stands up to it. No one says it's wrong. The women are chased, but they don't get to say it's wrong. He does get blown up in like 2 seconds, but they never denounce that activity. And when he's in his office and it's got those women with ropes tied all around them, that is the most awful imagery ever. It is so terrible.
You mean when the people are hanging upside down?
No,
because that was a family. That wasn't against women. In his office
at the end of the movie, when they're calling him, he's in a room painted with women all tied in ropes together, tied up in bondage. Naked women.
Okay.
It is terrible. So they're taking stuff that you would see in 1968 and they're bringing that forward in this movie, and the women really are still sex objects and they're just being chased, and I think it's just disgusting.
This was directed by a woman.
Well, I don't care. No one ever says that's wrong. They don't come in as a gang and say, fellas, your time is up. You can't treat us women like that. We have rights and whatever. No, nothing like that happens.
Directed by Kathy Yan.
It's really, she might have directed it, but whoever, it's just got this really sick background to it the whole time. And that's why it never is achieved what it was going for. Is that
like a girl power movie?
There's no girl power in this movie at all. It's just women being chased by really sick guys who are trying to lick their face.
Well, they take out all those guys that come after them in the amusement park, and then the villain gets killed.
It's not in a power way. It's more as like they are backs to the wall, having to defend themselves, and it's sick. There's parts of this movie that are really, really sick.
Okay, so this really bothered you as a feminist,
it really bothered
from a feminist
me
perspective.
as a woman. It didn't go. It could have cut all that out and did a girl power movie that girls could watch as well. They lost all that truth, so it's just a mediocre crap movie that made me feel disgusted.
Is this similar to Wonder Woman for you?
This is way worse than Wonder Woman in those ways.
This one's worse than that.
Well, I think the story at least made sense. There was all these light parts to it. I loved her little beaver that she has and her hyena and
the
stuff
beaver
like
that she was talking to?
There's all that light girl stuff, but then there's all this really dark, sick stuff in it that didn't belong. And in my mind, the women don't really win.
Don't they?
Not really, because no one tells them that you can't act like that, and that's bad.
But didn't they tell them by blowing them up?
No, they had to blow them up because they was going to kill them. So there's a lot of problems with it, and I don't think it's good at all. I think they totally messed up again.
So poor writing then.
Well, the visual, they gotta look at this stuff and think, who was my audience? What audience am I going for? Am I going for the sick incel audience here? Because that's a bit of what it was.
Okay.
I don't know.
I didn't really get that when I watched it, but you're entitled to your opinion.
Did you not all the women tied up? That was
I didn't even notice that background
there. That was the worst
I
ever.
was too busy watching
They
Ewan
had
McGregor chew all the scenery.
Women tied up with ropes and all their necks were tied together. It was really
so maybe
bad.
they're showing like this guy's really bad because
No
he's the
one-
villain.
But
You
he's
don't want to
looking-
be like
no,
him.
but he's looking great in this movie. He gets to
Is
wear.
he?
He has a nice club. He has nice things. He wears nice clothes, and no one kind of comes up to him and like says, "This is wrong, and I'm going to strip you of all this, and you're going to become a bum on the street." No, instead he doesn't even know he's dead. Basically, he gets blown up in like 1 second. He doesn't even know it happened. No, there's just
Okay.
anyway.
So
It was
what-
just wrong. In
So
a lot
what kind
ways.
of rating would you give this movie?
I don't know. I really didn't like it, but I give it that it's better than the other ones,
Okay, here we go.
other than The Flash. But as far as that imagery goes, I really didn't appreciate that. And all they had to do, and like even the booby trap that they had them in, that was also really sick imagery.
That was really creepy stuff in there.
But it was all against. It was all with naked pictures of women. And women, like, it was just bad. All the
I
imagery.
didn't get that at all.
Yeah,
it was
see,
more
you
like
weren't- you
scary
didn't
imagery in
no,
there.
it was all like, and the hands were like the handsy men. It was just, it just
I
made
didn't
my
pick up on
skin
that symbolism.
crawl.
Okay, so you really don't like this movie then?
No.
Okay. So
Although I give it that it had funny parts and it was a well-written story. I didn't like that part where they were going back and forth a bit. But they just completely missed the mark.
okay. So in
That's
terms of
me.
your ranking, this is number 2 for you
Yeah.
of the DCEU. All the other ones are worse.
All the other ones.
Out of the 8 movies that we've watched.
No.
For me-
Yeah, The Flash is superior above all.
Flash hasn't come out
Not
yet.
The Flash. The Shazam.
Shazam.
I always want to call him The Flash because he has this thing on his
No,
chest.
you can call him Thundercrack.
Thundercrack.
That's it. That was
Thundercrack.
his other name.
Yeah.
Okay, Captain Sparklefinger.
But this one, it could have been a good movie,
Okay.
but they completely messed up.
Okay. So in terms of a rating, I don't know what you gave Suicide Squad, but
This one's
I give it
better.
the best movie
but
ever,
it's
and
got
I stand by that.
Disturbing images
Okay.
that were totally unnecessary.
Fair enough. Fair enough. There was nothing in it that disturbed me, so that's why I have a very different contrast to Christine's. For me, I put this as, in terms of the 8 movies that we watched, Birds of Prey is number 4. Okay? So, that was our part 8 of our Into the DCEU. So, did you watch Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn? Bad title. Okay? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Did you enjoy it? Do you think Christine's right? Maybe I'm completely
Watch
wrong
it
and this
again
is way
and see
over my
what
head.
I'm talking about. And
There
it's
was some stuff in
disturbing.
it that should have been taken out. So for the scene where he's in the club and he's humiliating that woman on the table, that's not a good scene. That should have been taken out, definitely. I mean, they could have had him meeting with the Golden Dragon guy and then just cut out and then have Mr. Zsasz go, hey, something's going on, we gotta go. Boom, cut. That's all you need, right? We already know he's a bad guy. You don't need to put in crap like that. It's just more, I thought it was more reinforcing that he's a terrible dude.
The way that
But
they
you
did
did
it
need to do
was
that.
in that sick way. And
So-
that sick kind of way is reinforced throughout the
Okay.
movie.
Yes. I respect your opinion. I have mine. Let us know your thoughts on this movie. Is it good or not? What did you think of it? What did you think was bad from it? Let us know down in the comments below. And that was part 8 of Into the DCEU.